Hey, what's going on, everybody? Y'all hear
Good.
me?
Yeah.
B, what's up, baby?
Oh, what's up? What's up?
What's
I'm
up?
in here.
Yeah.
Hate it.
She,
I hear you.
yeah, I ain't heard it. It seemed like a damn decade, bro.
Ooh, it's been too long,
It's
man.
been way too long, bro.
Yeah.
How you feeling, man? How you doing?
I'm making it. I'm making it. I'm pretty good today. It's a good
Okay,
day. Nice and warm here in Texas.
man. What's the temp out there? What's the temperature like?
It's about 78 right now.
Man, it's like a summer day.
Yeah,
I
I heard it
know.
was like 80 something in San Antonio the other day.
It is. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Yep.
Oh, okay.
I take it. I take it. I don't like cold at all.
Right. I don't blame
I don't do the colds. Good to see y'all faces.
Likewise.
You people.
you. Yeah, still trying to set things up, man. I appreciate y'all checking in. It's
All
something
right.
new in
Glad
this.
we got it working.
That,
The sun is bright. Oh.
man. Yeah, so I'm just trying something new in this journey,
That's
man.
how we shine around here, man.
What you say?
Yeah. How was everybody's week?
Hmm.
About that.
It's a week that I never had before.
Okay, okay.
I mean, no new day is the same. So, it wasn't, next week and next week, they're never going to match up. So for me, brand new, you know, at the same time, with the nothing new under the sun kind of mind frame, it's just things are packaged differently, but the same kind of
Yeah.
concerns that you deal with daily,
Oh
just
yeah.
prioritizing, balancing life, work, and family,
Oh
and
yeah.
faith. So,
All of that. Yeah. Yeah. I totally get it. Whew, it's like so much every day.
hmm
What about your
Every day. Everyone has their own challenges that they're going through, trying to make time for this and that and everyone else. But I know for me, I slip on making time for myself. I can be there for everyone else, but it's hard to just to take that time, to breathe a little bit, to just think about what's going on with you. You know, I think that's important.
well, I think it's intentional though. It's actually a kind of like a season that I'm in. Me and my
Okay.
brother Derek, me and Derek, kind of been traveling this season together, and what God has been speaking to me about is just actually two things. One is taking like a Sabbath and being still,
Okay.
right? And being in being still or taking that Sabbath, like what is the point of it and all is resting and decompartmentalizing and taking everything out and dumping out all the stuff that you've collected, cleaning out the filters, dumping, cleaning out the closet, taking out the trash, those things that
Mm-hmm.
you talk about get so busy, right? Or we get so to take care of self, but all that stuff that we're taking on for other people, we're low key stacking within ourselves. And then there's got to come a point in time where, like you said, what about me? So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, in order for me to be the best for everybody else that I'm being there for, I got to reset and make sure I'm the best me because
Yes.
I'm really actually doing them a disservice.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And myself a disservice because I'm not allowing myself to operate at my maximum. Now
Right.
I'm surviving versus living.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real slippery slope. Uh,
Right. Right.
and it turns into a black and white to a gray area, and you're like, wait, how did I get here? I was just, so I think it's a constant reset of making say, okay, if I slot time for everybody else, what does that say about how I feel about myself if I don't slot time for myself?
Oh, that's important. Yeah. We
Right.
have to prioritize ourselves sometimes. You have to do it. It's just that natural balance that we have to have.
Yeah.
Mm. Let's see, like you say, every day is a new day. New day.
I mean, has anybody, I mean, how about you, Brian? Do you deal with that is your, on a daily as well?
Yeah, I always find it hard to dedicate time to myself, for myself, to like carve out a period of the day because there's
Mm-hmm.
always something. If it's not work is my wife or my children or my elderly mom or school. I'm working on a doctorate right now, and I just is constantly there's some thing going on in my life that I'm like, okay, I got to go do this. I got to go do that. And like, I find it hard to carve out that time for me. I know when I was in the service, it was easy to carve out time for like going out for a run. I used to love running, and I could go, well, you know what? The Air Force is going to pay me to go and run. And now
Right.
that I don't have an employer who pays me to go work out and be healthy, I find it harder to prioritize that. So yeah, it's definitely something that I struggle with finding time for myself.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I know. Well, the one thing I do schedule workout time every day. It's like 5 a.m, but I make sure that I get that in, and that definitely helps my day. Like if I didn't have that, oh man. Yeah. I don't know what.
That was gonna be my question in dealing with like, okay, now that it's been recognized, right? We're at a place of, I just turned 40, we're all in this range of self-awareness or, maturity after, living life fairly young, but still, could have a long way to go. With what we've put together, being organized in the service, making plans, being a manager, being a leader, we do all these things. And that 5 o'clock for me, that's prayer time, right? Or reading my word, and
Right.
because I understand that there's an unknown about to happen for my day, right? I do not know what's about to come. I just know I need to be in position in order to handle it. Right.
Okay.
And so what is my center focus? What's going to keep me balanced? Well, my faith, my God, he controls me, he guides me, he gives me my purpose, my thought. I'm not okay. So now my position is a humbling position. So I'm in the right spot to allow him, who knows what my day is going to bring, to help me to best navigate it. Right. And so that's where, when I don't do that, that's when I'm reactionary to my day. Right. And now that's when my anxiety climbs. Everything that I thought I had that's normal is out of the norm. I didn't have a plan on how to respond to it. Right. It's all, if I didn't eat, if I didn't sleep, if I'm late, if the kids are, and then now it's all reactionary.
Yeah.
Right. And there was no plan put forth. Your plan to ease your stress, let's work out. I got to clear everything before I start taking on a whole bunch of stuff.
Right.
Right. Or I've got to intentionally make a plan. So if that means I got to get up earlier, and sometimes it doesn't afford us to go to bed earlier, like, okay, well, can I find a nap? Can I find, a break of 30, like you give yourself back that time so that, because, operating on a lack of sleep is like operating drunk.
Yeah.
Right. And so we all know that you're not at your best capacity to even process information, remember information, give it out. Even if you might be operating on automatic, but you're not operating on peak performance. Right. So I think it's intentionality of, me and Derek been talking about slowing things down. We were just talking about life comes at you fast. We were actually giving this Matrix analogy. When Keanu Reeves finally realized who he was, when they shot the bullets, they were coming at him fast. He stopped them, right? He just slowed things down.
All right.
But then he took a time to evaluate the bullet. And like, oh, this really isn't a threat. This really isn't what I think it is.
Great.
Even though it presents itself as such, by being able to slow down, then he's able to like, hold on, I have control over how I choose to respond to this attack.
Right.
Then he's like, oh, I can deflect it, or I can move, or I can, how much of this is in my head and how much of this can I actually control? Centering myself, giving that space, getting that rest, that's on me. Not on anybody else, right? And so, yeah, I got 3-4 kids running around, my wife, church, things, business, school. I hear you getting your degree. Like, when does the mind rest? Right? When does the mind rest? And so, like, and I'm sorry if I'm talking a little long, Like for me, it's late night.
It's all first verse. Shoot.
I'm late night hours. I'm up until 12, 1 o'clock just because that's finally a quiet time for me.
All right.
Right? All the response, everybody's asleep. As my charge, everybody's rested. Okay, finally I can unpack because I can't sleep because my mind is still racing from the day and the next things that I have coming. So it's practicing like when I decompartmentalize at night and find that space, okay, I dump what I need to dump so that I can rest. And then hopefully, if I'm willing, I get another day. How do I charge myself up to go forward? Let me start where I ended, resting myself, gathering myself. And now we know life doesn't always afford us that. Sometimes you wake up one day and it's just chaos, right? You don't get to do anything you plan on doing and it just hits you full fledged, right? And so how do you respond? Because what you practice on the daily, when wartime hits, right? You respond to your natural defense. You respond to what you've trained to do in a time of chaos.
Train how you fight.
That kind of concept. If you don't practice that, that what ends up having you discombobulated all over the place. But finding that consistency and intentional about it, there's no reason why you can't do it because you're intentional about everything else you do. Right? And then if you need accountability, it's maybe I got to latch onto somebody else that has something I don't have that could help me. Not become dependent, but walk together. Like what we're trying to do right here. Right. So go ahead, guys. Sorry.
No, and that's a great point, Brian. Flash mentioned about having someone to walk with you. You know, maybe not coddle, you know, maybe not patronize you or anything, but just accountability is a key thing. But one thing that I've realized a part of this journey, man, is support is an action verb, bro. You know, he's like, oh, you know, let me know if you need anything, but it's a matter of how do people show up for you when you throw on the bat signal? How did you know what I'm saying? Like, and not just a one off. Like, okay, that you know that helps, but what happens the next time and the next time? So my question for you, BP, is what does that look like? What does it look like to have someone walk with you? And I know you're a retired senior enlisted leader, United States Air Force, and I know you've been on both sides, right? You've been the supporter and the supportee. What does that look like from a support standpoint? And then just briefly give me some tidbits as far as your take on being on the receive side of that.
I think the first thing that comes to my mind when you ask that question is the person active listening? Are they actively listening to the things that people are saying around them? Are they listening not just for the verbal cues, but for the nonverbals that people might be putting out there that say they need help or they're struggling? Because some people are never going to tell you they're struggling. They're never going to be able to verbalize it because they're too proud or too stubborn or just want to appear too strong. And
and all that too.
Right. That gentleman that you posted YouTube videos, is it Jason Wilson? I think
Jason Wilson.
His videos about is it comprehensive masculinity or comprehensive manhood? I can't remember the words, but talking about not always trying to be strong, understanding that, you know, being a man doesn't mean you have to always be strong, that you can find people to rely on, other men. And that's one of the things I found in Freemasonry. I found that I have a group of brothers with whom I have no other similarities. Most of us don't agree politically. We don't agree ideologically. We don't agree religiously, because Masonry is all about, you know, people from many, many different religions getting together and just supporting one another. And so I have found that's one of the ways I've been on the receiving end of support from them, from other men who I can rely on.
No, and that's great input. And I think you said something real key there is it's a team effort in a way, right? And so in a lot of ways, it's really critical to have a good tribe around you. And I know you know, some of you see me posting, you know, I've always been like that. Rashid, you've known me for, you know,
Mhm.
10, 12 years. I've always been in that lane. Me and Tay go back further than that. We go back like easily a dub. Easily a dub. So that's actually a great intro for Tay, being that BP had conveyed the need for a tribe, the need for support from a team effort, right? Mentioning Freemasonry, you know, commonalities, if you will, in a situation where there aren't very many commonalities. Where has that helped you along in your journey as far as support and providing support? From what I understand, you know, you're you know, initiated into the flock, if you will. So if you could just give me a few points, just expounding upon what BP had mentioned.
Oh yeah, man. Hey, thanks for having me, man. And it's good to it's nice to meet all you
Absolutely,
guys, man. Good
absolutely.
and I remember Gordon. You know, from the Air Force days. But yeah, I'm you know, a Mason as well, and I agree with BP's points there about, you know, that brotherhood that brings you together. You know, once you walk through those doors, or whether you're outside those doors, you know, you can just have just a group of men, you know what I mean, to talk about men stuff, you know what I mean? One thing that I realized that has helped me, especially being retired and done with, you know, with the Air Force and all that stuff, is that time, man. My time is important. You know what I'm saying? And I try to express that, you know, a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, man, look, if you know, if like when I say my time is important, I'm like saying that, hey, man, I don't like people, you know, wasting my like time, you know, like going to the grocery store, you know, like going to the grocery store. If I don't have to go to the grocery store, if I can order it online or whatnot, and they can pack it for me and I go pick it up, then that's what I do, you know. So, I think that that's for me, it most definitely is about time, and and that time I do spend with my brothers in the lodge, or just if I see a Mason on the street, you know, you know,
Whether they're
uh,
traveling,
you know,
yeah.
yeah, well, they traveling, man. Yeah, just stop and just have a conversation, man. That's really it, man.
And
Yeah.
DV, something that you mentioned hit me, and it jogged a memory. You talked about surrounding yourself with a tribe of good, strong men.
Hmm.
And it made me think of John Maxwell. He's my favorite leadership coach.
Yeah, he's great.
And he has a phrase that he says, leaders are lifters. You're
Mm.
you have to surround yourself with a group of men. You're gonna acclimatize to whatever's around you. So if you
Yeah.
constantly are surrounded by people who are, you know, pursuing something to better themselves, whether it be college or a certification or a trade or something to consistently lift themselves, then you're gonna want to lift yourself too, and you encourage one another. And just what you said just made me think of Maxwell.
Yeah, and that's a great point because I know a lot of us, we're old heads, so we've been around the block. Um, so we've heard the term "you're the sum total of the five people that you associate with the most." So that there's a lot of credence and there's a lot of validity in those statements as far as tribe, and surrounding yourself around like-minded individuals, but also, like you said, people that are doing things bigger and better and than you, so you have something to strive for, from an ambition standpoint. Um, and I think that's key, especially in situations like this. And for me, just full transparency. And I want to read this particular quote. This is one of the posters that I wrote, so just bear with me. Um, and this, for me, this came out of a need for a tribe, right? Post military, because I think that's something that we really underestimate being military men, right? Whether it doesn't matter the branch, it doesn't matter, the faction, enlisted officer, or whatever. You in 4 years, you in 24 years. You miss that sense of camaraderie, that sense of belonging, and that in itself provides a vehicle for driving towards purpose, right? Even if you don't necessarily have it within yourself, or you're still trying to acquire that, like you said, BP, surrounding yourself around people at least pulls you in that direction. It gives you something to strive for. So I just want to share this particular um, quote, a little bit of self indulgence, if you will, but just bear with me. Um, Trust begets trust. Vulnerability begets vulnerability. Transparency begets transparency. Be honored and humbled to have people that you can be yourself around without judgment or hesitation. Be honored and humbled that the same people you confide in returns the favor with equal passion. No one in this relationship feels cheated or taken advantage of because there will never be a robbery in a fair exchange, right? So no one feels cheated. So being able to get things off my chest in a safe environment around safe individuals lets my guard down, puts me at ease, and therefore other people can feel compelled to do the same. And that's what I've attempted to do on this journey. That's why, I've posted certain things, and the average person, the outlook, if you didn't know DV, if you didn't know the catalyst and the whole journey and the type of individual I am, the type of leader, et cetera, you, oh, that's just too much information. But knowing what you know about me, it makes all that much more sense, right? So it's really just to put people at ease because I realize the stigma, because I've experienced it firsthand, from a mental health standpoint, being anxious, being depressed, going through PTSD, having episodes, having fits of rage, having interpersonal issues with my tribe or people that aspire to be a tribe, and even my family. So in the midst of all of that, this is more or less a project. This is a project for me. And not saying that I've already arrived at a certain point, but again, making the analogy of I'm surrounding people around me. I'm surrounding a BP around me. Someone who's got a master's an inch away from a doctorate's, right? I'm surrounding Big Sheet around me who's into fitness, who's into wellness all around, spiritual, family man. I'm surrounding myself around Tay, up, upstanding brother, holding people accountable, holding himself accountable, being an example, and showing and proving in what he's doing in his works, his projects, his podcast, and everything that he's doing. And of course, Flash, being a family man, also being a creator. Um, so that's essentially what it's all about, and that's what this endeavor is about. It's about building a tribe and establishing that, and having something to pull you towards something. And for me, that has always been the case. And I guess that's a great segue into my next point, my next question, right? Um, are you okay? Now, G Flash, right? He let us off. Great monologue, great intro, set us up, right? Through the alley oop, tip ball. And we all checked in, we took inventory. But it's easy to speed past that. It's easy to speed past, are you okay? Oh yeah, I'm good, I got this. And but what does that really mean? What does that really look like? You know, and oftentimes us as men, especially even around each other, but just within our own circle, our family and close knit, we tuck things in. We take a lot of shit on the chin, bro. It's a lot of things that we deal with that the average person doesn't know. Maybe they don't care about, but we take for granted that they won't be able to comprehend or understand and empathize with us. And that's why this is what it is, right? Trust, transparency, and vulnerability. Um, and so that, you know, I don't want to speed past that. I don't want to get past the are you okay? And everything that I just said, trust, transparency, and vulnerability. I'm going to put myself out there to put you at ease. I'm not okay. I haven't been okay for a while, if I'm being honest. And I'm being honest. And I'm being honest. Probably 5 years now, removed from combat deployment in Afghanistan, um, of which I had a nervous breakdown of sorts. And I've alluded to it. I just haven't really I'm still working through that in therapy, and I haven't really quite even dug deep into that. So I guess in a very stubborn way, in a selfish way, I've taken my healing into my own hands. In lieu of being able to have the, go through the emotions and share these experiences, feeling shame, feeling guilt for freezing, because we talk about fight flight a lot, but we don't talk about freezing a lot. Nor do we always put it together that there may be something in our upbringing that coincides with the moments that we continue to have in our adulthood. And that's what it was for me. Growing up in LA, growing up in the environment that I grew up in. And so obviously it's not easy, especially as a black man. And not to say that all men don't have these issues or don't have these challenges, but it's almost some extra oomph, if you will, some extra stink on it, if you will, being in the black community, because it really is a machismo thing. It really is an image thing. And so it's hard to really combat that in addition to the normal stigma that comes with mental health. So I haven't been okay. In addition to that, having a sick wife, heart transplant, having two hospital stays myself, suicidal ideations, passive and active suicidal intentions, having a kid who's kind of veered in that same lane. And so now I see myself as more of a guide now. Not really knowing what that may entail. Again, this is a project. I'm a work in progress. And I submit to you, I don't believe it's just a matter of being a work in progress. I think you are the process, or you are the progress. You can't have real progress without real work. You understand what I'm saying? And that comes with a price. It comes with trust, vulnerability, and transparency. And that's not always seamless. It's not always smooth, and it's not always accepted. And sometime or another, it just becomes about what you're willing to deal with, what you're willing to take on the chin, if you will. And so I'm expressing myself to you guys and putting myself out there to create a safe environment. So again, the question is, are you okay? Are you okay? Do you tuck things in? And why do you tuck things in? And that's even more of a point to ask this question, with the need for tribe, with the need for support. What is a safe space? And that's for anybody. That's a tip ball for anybody who wants to get that and run with it and take point on that. What's a safe space? What does it mean to be in one? What does it look like? What does it feel like?
I think that would be a safe space would be different for everybody because it's where you're most comfortable. Like for me, my safe space is home, surrounded by my wife and my children. That's where I feel safe. I'm safe to be angry if I'm angry. I'm safe to be happy if I'm happy. I don't have to put on a front for anybody. So that's my safe space, and it may not be the same safe space for somebody else. I don't know, but that's just me.
Yeah, and that's why we're having a conversation, because I want to be able to collect that, because even though we have differing opinions, you're definitely going to say something that might trigger me like, man, okay. You're going about this differently, how you track your day, how you are able to be intentional, as Flash said, and be more deliberate about how you plan your day, how you go about your day, and what you surround yourself around, right? And that's what I want to provide for you guys, is that ability to be in a safe space and be able to get, quote unquote, get your bars off. Tay, you got something? Let me know, man. I need something from you. I know. I see you with the double Dutch rocking.
Yeah, man, I think that's when you ask the question, am I okay? I would say that today I'm okay. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I
You know what I
like
mean?
that. They hear
Yeah.
it now, right?
yeah, it's the here and now, and I think that's how we have to approach things, man. One thing that I discovered, going through class was that, and I took a psychology class, and I discovered, that my mom, had depression. Like it never like dawned on me until, the some of the things that I picked on. Not only did she have depression, she was an active, I can't remember, but where she could function throughout the day. It's just, she'll just have highs and lows and things of that nature. Whenever she came home, that's when it all like self-destructed, so to speak. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, I think that, coming from that perspective, and I most definitely have highs and lows, and I've learned some things about, myself and depression and things of that nature. So, I truly take the day by day approach. You know what I mean? Like, I get up for that day and I'm like, all right, man, hey, the first step to getting up is being alive. You know what I'm saying? So, being thankful for that, and then and really trying to find the good, all the time. You know what I'm saying? Without thinking about, the bad things. My mom's passed away about 5 years ago, so
Yeah.
I usually have trouble during these times. You know what I'm saying? Because my mom passed away when she was 58. She should still be here. You know what I'm saying? Um, and so I have a lot of, tough times during this time of the year. You know what I'm saying? But really, I just try to be thankful. You know what I'm saying? For whatever small victory I have that day, man.
I like that. I like that. Thanks for sharing, bro. What about you, Sheet?
Ooh, that's a good one. Am I okay? I think I go like with like a lot of people saying, I'm okay right now, you know, but we all go through our things normal day to day. I hold in a lot, because I feel as though I can't share it. So I'll hold in the weight of kid stuff, wife stuff, job stuff, and just keep it to myself, because it's easier to do than talk about it,
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't have that tribe that I go to that I can release there's certain things. But I will say I did within the last month and a half, I have started therapy, in which has been really good. It's really good. Getting some of the stuff that, I've been holding on for like 30, 35 years,
Kudos, bro.
out in the open to where, it's something you don't want to think about, but it affects you on a daily basis in relationships, just life things that I know when it's happening, but it's been good to talk about with someone that's not, no one's prejudging you, or treating you different,
Yeah.
So I say I'm all right today, but
Like
like I
that.
say, like Tay was saying, it's one day at a time. And everything's one day at a time. And I'm, thankful to always wake up, thankful for all the blessings that I do have, because there are people other places that have things a lot worse, So I'm just, I'm glad to be here and just be present,
Going to jump in there, BP. I know you got something.
I'm just thinking about, I can't remember where I heard it, but I read something or watched a video about greetings in America versus in other parts of the world. And I think they compared it to greetings in Europe, where, how you doing is kind of a greeting for us. And it's not really meant to say, how are you? Like, it's not the same as looking someone in the eye and saying, how are you doing? We just say, hey man, how you doing? And your answer is always, I'm good. Because it kind of implies there's no like deeper conversation wanted,
Nothing
or no
really
deeper
to
conversation
yeah.
needed.
Yeah.
And they do it so differently in other cultures where they actually, during the course of a conversation, they'll say, how are you doing? So different than just, hey man, how you doing? And I that's something else that we're lacking in our culture, I guess, that we need to change.
So that's a great point. So I like the fact that you incorporated the contrast with how Western or American society interacts and poses those questions versus, the quote unquote the rest of the world, right? So would it be safe to say that's something to adopt within our tribe and extending out to furnish a safe space? Would that be a fair assumption?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's all about creating that environment, to where people feel safe talking to you about things. And when I think about creating that environment, uh, I try to create that environment by not gossiping with other people. Hey, did you hear what DV said last week? Man, I can't believe that.
Right.
That just creates this environment where whoever I'm talking to is going to go, well, he was just talking junk about DV. I'm not going to tell him anything going on with my life because I don't want him to, gossip to somebody else. So
Right.
that's just one small way I try to create an environment where people could feel safe coming to me and talking to me and just blowing off steam about whatever is going on in their lives.
Um, let's tunnel in a little bit, um, because that's in a very general sense and on a very personal note, right? How's that carried over into? And granted, we're looking at it in retrospect because you're retired, but how did that carry over into your interactions as a leader? Your personal philosophy. How were you able to incorporate that into your day-to-day dealings with your people, or in all levels, right? Lateral, below you, and above you.
Well, I think again that just goes to creating that positive environment where everyone feels an opportunity to put out their opinions and their perspectives and their thoughts. Everyone feels safe, that they're not going to be criticized, mocked, laughed at, made fun of. Um, that to me is one of the first things when it comes to leadership is creating that positive environment where nobody feels denigrated, nobody feels looked down upon, everybody feels that they're valued and that they're worthy.
I like that. I like that. You got anything to add to that, Flash?
As far as creating a safe space.
Yeah, furnishing a safe space, and being the change agent or the catalyst, if you will. Shameless plug.
I mean, I had a couple of experiences in doing it recently. I was telling you about my family, my married family. They were dealing with a lot of family issues in the passing of my wife's grandmother. It's the first loss in their family. She's 85. And so the long and the short of it is they're a matriarch kind of family, all women. And me and my brother-in-law are kind of like the only, and my father-in-law are like the only men that have been married into this generations with their females. And with that being said, there's been a lot of misunderstandings and misconceptions from a male's to female's perspective and so on and so forth. And my house, long and short of it, happened to be the epicenter of years worth of trauma and issues that I've been seeing that needs to change in this family, but I had to wait on people to get mature. I couldn't force them. So I made my place a safe place, my home.
Safe haven. I like
Safe
that.
haven. I say that because I convinced that every argument or every situation in my home is not is set with the premise of reconciliation being the goal, not being right. But in order to do so, people need to be heard. So whether that was a talking stick or something that would control to allow somebody to speak and or be heard, creating that safe space to know that those voices are that. And with that situation, it arose into chaos. And mind you, it was on my 40th birthday. And what I chose over making it about me was I told them, I was like, you guys, I see it going somewhere it's not supposed to go, but this home is a place of reconciliation.